to another show. Don't get this twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good, Rob. Tired as hell, but I'm, hanging in there.
I see that. If people can see you, you look like you're ready to go to sleep.
Well, I took a shower and I didn't put on any makeup or do my hair, and I just don't give a crap to be out in society. The rest of the day, I'm exhausted.
I don't blame you.
I was out super late playing poker with friends, and I don't know, just didn't sleep much. They had to go to work today, so now I'm just dragging ass.
Dragging the booty? I get you.
Yeah, just dragging. How are you?
I'm all right. I actually slept very weird last night, like super duper hard. Like
really
hard. Yeah. Like when my alarm went off this morning, I kind of skyrocketed out of the bed, like up, like I was waking the dead. And my poor dog jumped up with me and was like looking at me at the same time. And I was like, oh, okay. So
what the heck?
Because I usually, I'm usually up at like 2:30 or 3, get up, go pee, and then go back to bed. And I'll either like go and sit on the couch and kind of like lean out there and kind of do whatever. Not today. I was out unconscious. So, but I woke the day. I was feeling like I woke up from the dead. It was very,
hilarious.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
So, I'm bringing one to you today. I read a quote. Actually, I read several quotes, but I thought this one was like really good. I'm gonna give you two. Okay. The first one is closure isn't getting every answer. Sometimes it's deciding you've asked enough questions, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
And then this one, some chapters end with an apology, an explanation, or closure. Turn the page anyway, or some don't end with that. And I think, that it's a interesting thing about closure. Some of us can do it. Some of us aren't very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
There's many people in my life that I've seen who just will not close a door, regardless of the situation that they're in. I have seen someone who has been with somebody for a very long time, then separate for a pretty long period of time. And then when their ex got with somebody, it hit him really hard, even though they've already moved on. So like, to me, like, your closure isn't really there. Because like, here's the thing, you have to be able to close things out. At least that's the way I see it. But it's not easy. I was lucky enough to do it with my ex-wife because I decided I was going to cut the umbilical cord.
Right.
I tried for 6 months, didn't work, didn't go anywhere. The night that she said she didn't want to try things anymore, I literally woke up the next day and was like, okay, I'm done. Time to go forward. I never talked to her about it again, never called her about it, never did anything. Just shut it off. I haven't done that many times in my life. For some reason, I keep people hanging around much longer than I probably should.
Yeah, that will start to leave a mark on you, though.
Mm-hmm. And I totally think that it has. For the first time, I've had people actually kind of ask me about things too. Like, aren't you just gonna say goodbye to that? Be done with it? Close it? So closing
is a funny thing, though. If you're not ready to let go, there's nothing you could do to fix that. Like, you have to be mindfully set to let go. I mean, you have to be, there's There's nothing more you could say, do, or feel, and you just got to let go. And unless you get to that point, it's very hard to let go.
100%. Because sometimes you don't get the answer that you're really looking for.
Oh, you get the answer. That's the problem. People don't see all the things that build up to that finality of the relationship. You got to really be honest with yourself and look at the whole thing and not just the last, 10 minutes.
Correct. I think you're 100% correct that people look at the whole story sometimes, and then some people look at the last few minutes.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because you want to see the best of people, even though you know that they're not good for you. Because the parts that made you happy about them are what you bring to the top.
Yeah. Well, it's easier to look at the good than it is to look at the bad.
100%.
Absolutely. Because if you love somebody, especially, you will give them 100 excuses for one thing that they did because you want to believe in them so badly. But at the same time, you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, I'm a Pisces. There is nobody better that could make a story happen that didn't belong or wasn't right. I mean, I could spin a story. I can. I love to daydream. It's just who I am as a person. But on the other end of that, you got to look at it how are you feeling with that?
Right.
Are you okay with living like that or believing in somebody that's clearly not capable of giving you what you need so that you can believe in them? You really have to look at all sides of it. And I spend tons of time looking at all sides and trying to figure out, is this good for me? Is this not good for me? Not with everybody, because I'll give somebody 100 chances and never even think about that. But when it gets to it's time to look at it, right, I really dive deeply into that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, and I'll say mostly in marriage and long relationships, you look at time like it's a linear thing. I've put in so much time. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't make sense either, because you're supposed to be with who you're supposed to be with whenever it is that they're there. It's not a thing where, oh, I wasted time. No, you should have been learning a lot about yourself, about your partner, about what you like and don't like. I mean, you could say it's wasted time, but people are put in your life for an absolute reason. Mm-hmm. And it's not wasted time. How long did it take you to get the damn lesson?
Right. They're learning experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that part to me, I'm a slow learner, I'll be honest. I let people abuse me, not abuse physically, but take advantage mentally of or just plain fuck with me. And then finally I have to say, you know what? I can't feel this bad anymore. I have to let you go. You're on your own. Figure it out. Nothing is permanent in life except for death.
Right.
So unless the person dies, anything is possible. Reunification is possible. Finally letting go because you see him with somebody else or whatever the case may be. There's got to be a finality there. And when you get to that point, that's when you make your decision.
And I think that I kind of agree with everything you just said. I think there's certain things that will, I don't want to say change the way your heart feels, but help stitch it up. When they finally get with somebody else, I think that there's it's easier to close that chapter off. Because you're like, okay, look, I obviously wasn't the one. I have to look forward as well.
Yeah. And when I was young, I was in the 4th grade and I had a slumber party. And I really wanted certain people to show up, and I pressed it. And then when they got there, they acted so damn miserable. They ruined my good time. So my thing is, I learned from then, quit pushing things that aren't meant to happen, and enjoy what is. Because the funny thing is, whomever is supposed to be there always shows up, and it's always going to be that way. And if it's somebody that, you really want to be there and isn't, that's a sign.
Right.
That's a sign that that person's not going to be with you for that day, for that time of your life, for that special occasion, for whatever it is, because they're not meant to. And if you have faith and you believe that, you let go of all the expectations and you have such a better time. You really do, because you're with the people that you're meant to be with. Mm-hmm. And I've struggled with that over the years, because I'll try to make a shit sandwich taste good. And sometimes it's just a shit sandwich you have to throw away. You have to get rid of. You have to walk away from. You have to put it down, because it's not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, see, you're hearing how I really look at things when I finally decide to say I'm done.
I think, at least from what you just said and kind of how I see things, I also think now, and it took me a lot of years to come up with this, some people are only supposed to be in your life during certain chapters.
Absolutely.
And if you step back a little bit, you can see that what they brought to your life, and it's all good, even if they brought something shitty to it. Because at some point you're moving forward, right? So, like I look at my marriage, and it was rocky at times, good, bad, indifferent. I got a kid from it.
Absolutely.
So but I think that I give my ex-wife a lot of credit, because she was, 40 years old and decided she wasn't happy, and she didn't stay for her kid. She didn't make that excuse, because I think that's an excuse sometimes. Oh, we're going to try to make it work for the kid. I'll tell you now, 95% of the time it doesn't work.
And that's the wrong freaking message to show your child.
Yep.
Because what you're saying is, it's okay to be miserable for somebody else.
Correct.
And you're teaching them to be miserable too.
Yep. You're just teaching everyone in your kin folk that, hey, this guy I'm with shitty. I'm going to stay because I think it's good for whatever reason. Money, we can't afford to move out.
It's all an excuse for you not taking your life into your own hands.
Yeah.
And making something better than what is.
And I've seen it in many, many women. Unfortunately, I think that girls like to talk to me about their horrible issues that they're going through. And I've seen it many times. Now, here's the flip side I'll give you with men. Men will stay because they think they can fix it.
Is that the reason? Because they look stupid trying to do that.
Yeah, but I think in their head, like, men are very black and white. It's, I can fix it, I can fix it, I can fix it. It's broke, I gotta go. But generally, if you look at statistically, 80% of women are the ones who ask for a divorce. So men aren't asking for divorce. 20% of the time they're asking for a divorce. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that 20% of the time is general unhappiness and they found another woman.
Possibly.
That's it. Yeah. Because we'll rough it out, because here's the thing. I think men generally, unless they're getting abused mentally and verbally or physically, will stay, because unhappiness to a man has to be, like I said, has to be out in the parking, putting your head on the steering wheel going, fuck, I got to go back in there. Son of a bitch. that's when you know you're done. Most men will go in and be like, okay, I hope she didn't have a bad day. I still love my wife. You know, we got a decent life. We got kids. Things aren't horribly bad. Where I think women will find something to be unhappy with, and then the whole world collapses around them.
I don't know about
maybe
that,
I'm generalizing.
because when I was getting divorced, I tried everything I could. I was so frustrated at times talking, because I could tell the lights were on, but nobody was home. In his head, he did not want to hear me. He didn't want to know what was going on. He just was fed up. He was just done with trying to deal with a relationship. And I was too. So it made it very, it was hard to try to work on, for sure, because we just got to the place where neither one of us cared to.
But I think that you guys are on the bell curves, right? You guys are like, probably, you know, you're not in that percentile. You know, you both tried, it didn't work. You talked it out. You're still friends. You guys are well outside the percentile.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, I'm looking at like the core group of things. And again, I'm not trying to like defend men. Men can be pieces of shit as well. And they can be verbally abusive. There's shitty men, without a doubt. I know there are, because I've heard it from all these women
in general, men and women. I
just think men try to hold on longer. And maybe I'm just thinking of the thing that women, once they give up, they give up.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing too.
When they're asking for things, when they're not getting them, when they're, you know, like I had a friend that used to say that she wanted to be bent over her kitchen island. And that became the focus point of why she hated her husband, was because how many times do I have to ask? Like he claims he wants to have sex. He wants to be close with me. I tell him what I need, and he doesn't show up to do that.
Right.
I've been there. I mean, we've all been in situations where you don't get what you want, but you know, you have to look at things. Was that the whole reason, or is it you're not getting met emotionally?
Right. That's probably the breaking
not hearing
point.
What you need, huh?
That was probably the breaking point.
That was the last straw.
Yeah. Because if that was it, then she's mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like there's bigger fish to fry in a relationship. I'd be more worried that, you know, I'm not meeting, you know, mental needs.
Yes.
You know, like I'm not being
Emotional.
there for, like, you know, there's, and look, we all need to meet everyone's needs. It's kind of across the board thing, but you have to look at the percentiles of those needs, right? Before you start saying, I'm going to close this chapter out with somebody. Because that's how I look at it. And look, like I said, some people come into our lives at the, you know, right and wrong times. And I know that people will argue that fact, that if they were the right person, they would come at the right time. I generally believe that, but
nobody comes with a big red bow on top of their head like they're a new car. You know, when you're in a relationship, like it's like, remember the old, they still use these when they record people in the studio, the mixer boxes with all the little levers and all the little switches, and you have to go through and you have to raise some of them and lower others and turn up the volume or turn down the volume. Like that's the same with learning another person. Like you need to learn all their little idiosyncrasies, and you need to learn how they tick and what they need. And you know, it's amazing what a person will be like if they're hungry, as opposed to how they are any different time of the day or night. You know, you have to learn all those little things about a person in the beginning. Nobody's going to come with that red bow on their head.
Yeah, look, nobody's perfect. And truly, I've said this to somebody, and I'm sure it came back to bite me, but I told somebody that they were a lot one time. I'm like, man, you're a lot. And looking back on that, we're all a lot. Every single one of us are a lot. It just matters how you're a lot to somebody.
And if the other person can manage your lot.
Correct.
But again, if you spend time really getting to know a person and you know how they think and feel and you create a relationship based on trust. And I'm really talking to women right now. Like if you're sitting there telling your husband he's a piece of shit and you're not like trying to work at the things that you need from him with him, it's never going to happen. You're not going to get there because men will shut down. Men will be like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. Now leave me the fuck alone. And I've seen it. You can't do that to a person. You can't come in and judge them harshly and make them feel like they are just the worst person in the world. Because guess what? They'll show up that way.
Yeah.
And you gotta work together. If you love somebody, you have to really put in time. Again, with my ex, we don't see eye to eye on so many things, but I know that about him. I know who he is and what he needs, and he knows the same about me. And we work really hard to bridge the gap. Even though we're not married anymore, this is just trying to be friends. We've had to learn to do that. And right. That's where things need to go. It's not about, I need this and you're going to have to give it to me. It's about how do we find the balance in the relationship so that we could get along and be happy. Not perfect, but be something to each other that's more than just a pain in the ass that nobody wants to go home to.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people will say things like, well, if I'm too much, find somebody else.
Maybe you should look at, why is he saying I'm too much? Like, what the fuck am I doing acting like this to where somebody's like, damn, like you took all my energy. You're too much. Why are you not looking at you on any level to find out what that means? Because you could be getting a lesson in there.
Yeah, I think it's a two-way street too. Why am I too much for you? Right. Mm-hmm. And then hearing the answer and trying to find that middle ground. Because if everything else is good, but sometimes you're just like, whew, man, like, yeah, I think there's something there.
Yeah.
And like some people are just broken. We know people from our past that, look, how many people from your past do you know that have gotten a divorce? Right. Me. Well, besides us, besides ourselves. Right.
Okay.
And then look at their marriage and you're like, man, like I thought it was good. And then you start like really remembering certain things and you're like, ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like they were toxic with each other. Like this, they drank too much together. They did this. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. I'll tell you a story. I heard about someone very close to me, was married to somebody. And from the outside looking in, I thought him and her had this super cool marriage. And like, I saw them very, during like events mostly. Right.
Okay.
Then I had a good friend of mine who was friends with the wife. And then I found out things about him that I didn't know. And I was a little shocked. I was like, oh, very possessive, very, just probably didn't trust her. Then I heard about they went to a concert and she was going to wear this like vinyl catsuit that was like painted on her. And I remember seeing her in that. And then when we went to the show, she wasn't wearing it anymore. And I found out later on that he told her, don't wear that. So it's very easy to see the smiley, happy faces of people. And then you really hear the inside. Like, I heard things about this guy that I was very shocked. And the person who told me is like one of my best female friends ever.
Wow.
And it was close to home. Like, I knew this guy really well. So now, did it change the way I think about him? No, because I think that they were just toxic against each other, because they both got divorced and went on to have very good marriages with two totally different people.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, really good marriages, like a textbook, been together 20 something years, still together, had children together with these other people. I think they were young. I think a lot of it was looks driven, like, just they were both, good looking people, and it was just young and dumb and thought, let's get married. So, looking back on it, I think that they were both had issues at the time, probably drank too much, partied, a bunch of other shit. So you just never know. And they had to close that chapter with each other to move on to something that obviously was better.
Yeah.
And
you don't really know what's going on in a person's world. I remember being very young, and this is for me when I remember it started. Like, my mom, dad, brother, me, we would be in just the worst situation. Everybody's crying, snot's running out of their nose, bad situation. Me and my brother may have been hit with what was called a stick, but it was a 2x2 on the ass for whatever we did wrong or whatever. And the house could be fucking chaotic, right? And somebody would ring the doorbell, and everybody, went to wherever they needed to go, washed their face real quick, changed whatever they needed to change, picked up whatever needed to be picked up, and quick. And then when the door was open, it looked like, one big happy family. We got really good at pretending is what we did, to the point where there was a family friend's daughter used to call me the Beeve, because our house looked and everybody acted as if life was always perfect. And apparently I got really good at doing that, because to be called the Beeve, I mean, it's like an old reference. However, it was very specific.
Yes.
And I noticed that from growing up with these people and others, that the jealousy, because I had the perfect family, was insane with these other people. And they wanted what I had, and they needed what I got. And they imagined that the world I lived in was just sunshine and sunflowers all over the place. And it was not. Like, the family that I come from it was not a perfect family. We just stuck together, and we learned how to make it work. But, nobody's life is perfect. So when you're looking at a person, like, you got to realize, no, they don't have it easy either. Everybody's got their own things that they need to learn or take care of or whatever. And if they appear happy or they look happy or social media says they're ecstatic, cool. Buy into that. But that's not the truth.
Right. They're probably not.
No.
Well, yeah. No. And look, I think that there's people who are looking to close chapters and they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's even harder.
You have to pick you first. You have to pick you to the point where, I've had to do that with several people. Like, I remember one of my best friends, like, when we were finally done, I said, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm exhausted to the point I just don't want to try anymore. And I had to have faith that I was going to be okay, because this person was someone that was so close to me and always around that I didn't know if I was going to be able to live without having them around. But guess what? apparently a lot of my friends didn't like that person anyway. And when that person left my life and stayed out of my life, I got what I would have called my secondary group of people kind of pushed up. They kind of became my best friends, and to this day treat me like no other. Like I have a really good relationship with them. So
Right.
to me, it was like, you have to have faith that you're going to be okay. And sometimes you need to let people go. If they're supposed to be in your relationship with you again, they will. There's nothing you could do to stop that, because we have our lessons coming regardless. But if you don't have faith that you're going to be okay, or that something else is going to take that attention, you're going to stay in a situation that's just going to be overkill on letting you know you shouldn't be in it.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. You kind of hit the nail right on the head.
Well, I've been through it how many times? I mean, you've seen me go through it in waves where I've lost a lot of people all at the same time. And
Right.
I don't know, there's been times when after they've left, I've been so broken, I didn't know how I was going to get myself off the ground. But, you just got to do it and know that just give yourself a break. Find some peace in letting go.
I think I had to do that, a year and something ago. I forgot when it was.
Yeah.
But, since then, I think I've just looked at things differently. I'm trying not to be super harsh either about things, because like I have found myself with like, well, fuck it. I don't care now about anyone. Like everyone's going to get cut off. And I think that you have to be careful about that. Close a chapter you true believe needs to be closed.
Absolutely.
And don't dog ear it. Don't think about like, oh, if this happens again. No. Some things are better gone.
Exactly. And you'd be surprised how you will be blessed with something that's way different, way more healing.
Mm-hmm.
People that'll bring back some real goodness in you. Like, I really was fortunate that when I decided to be done, I was so broken, it was ridiculous. But because I was broken, I had nowhere to go but up. Leave it all behind, let it all go, give it to God, do what you have to do. Now breathe. And I went through that for countless times where I've had to let things go, let people go. And you know what I learned? They all come back. So let them go, let them learn, let them evolve, wish them the best. I find that the best karma you could have is wishing somebody that really has fucked you over, wish them nothing but happiness and good fortune.
Yeah.
Because the more you give them that, the more they have to deal with their karma, because it still needs to be paid. What they did still needs to get, it's checks and balances need to
Comes
adjust.
Back on you.
And you're not putting anything more on your plate. And forgiveness is a true sign of being a mature person. And if somebody truly deserves they deserve a second chance, give that wholeheartedly, but know your worth.
Yes, I agree. And look, people come into our lives and change you.
Absolutely.
For either the worst or the better. Try to find the things of these people who are in your life and find those things that made it better. Look, I've learned some lessons over the last 10 years. Lots of them, actually. Sometimes you have to really, really tell someone how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, for the better part of like, instead of holding back, 'cause look, we're all guarded when it comes to relationships. And some people you get in a tiff and things kind of separate and you don't talk to them again, or you don't talk as much. And if you would have just really kind of thrown down the gauntlet and said, like, this is how I feel about you, I should have said this to you. For one, it's throwing it out to her or him. And secondly, it's going to either keep a chapter open or close it. Mm-hmm. And then you can walk away from something with your head high. Like, to me, that's
on the table.
Yeah. And there's something to that. I would rather go to somebody and say, hey, this is how I feel. Obviously you don't. You're moving on with somebody else. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You know, sometimes it's better to just move on from the person either that you're with or the one that you wanted to be with and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You also got to remember, you don't know what you're being spared by not having that person around.
Right.
And I learned that a long time ago. And there's lessons in that too. You know, you gotta let go for your own well-being, for their own well-being. Mm-hmm. It has to happen. Like, you can't just, if you don't let people go, nobody's going to evolve. And everyone needs to evolve. Now, again, until there's death, like, I can't fix anything with my mom anymore. She's been gone 15 years. But at the end of her life, she and I had some really freaking amazing conversations to where I don't have those same issues with her. You know, right. we were able to say what we needed. There was so much love there. So it was, I look at it now, like, I miss her. We've talked about that, but I don't have any regret in what I did or how I did it, or how, you know, oh, I wish she would have just did that. No, we were able to let go of a lot of things and, you know, put it back together again. And that's with her being gone. Like, I was able to just let go of stuff that didn't serve me anymore. And man, but that's the only time that you have to do that on your own. Otherwise, people walk this earth with us every day. They may not be next to us. They may not be around us, but it's still we still have an opportunity to fix things. And if it's meant to come back around, it surely will.
Correct. I agree with that. I think, look, closure is a weird thing. I didn't have major issues with my mom. But that being said, there was things there over a few years that we had issues. But I think we closed those all out, you know, before she passed away. So I was kind of lucky to be able to go, okay, well, at least I did this, you know, like, whew, you know, I didn't have to worry about that part. So, but, you know, look, you even have to close chapters in death. Like, there is a chapter to close. It doesn't mean you're going to forget people. Like, I will tell you for sure, 100%. There are people that I've had relationships with from a long time ago that always stuck to me.
Yeah.
You know, that like made me go, man, you know, I wish I'd have did this, or, you know, I wish she would have done this, because, you know, I've had some people in my life that not ran away. I don't want to say it that way, but definitely, you know, question certain things and then they just disappear. And you're like, man, and then you might end up seeing them later on. And you're like, oh, like, you've changed. That's awesome. So you're right that you can close a chapter for now and then write a new one later.
Yep.
Because I don't think you're ever going back to that other thing. you're never returning to that chapter, even if you end up with that person later on. You're writing a new chapter.
And hopefully a better one, because the absence that you two have had will help with you to reflect and be a different person so that it works differently the next time.
Right. And generally, speaking, we've talked about it on here before. I think anything under 3 or 4 years, you're probably the same person, give or take. I mean, unless there's life altering crazy shit. But most people, you have a cycle of like 3 or 4 years where you're just kind of the same person. You're not changing unless something came into your life and changed it. But I think once you get to like 5 years or later, you've probably changed as a human. Something has changed you. You see the world differently, death in your family, your friends changed, whatever it is that brought you to this is a new chapter to write. And I think if you're looking at it from the writing standpoint, you should be trying to write new chapters as much as you can.
I would agree with that.
As you get older, we don't have a lot of chapters to write. I don't
know about that. I think I have a lot of chapters still in the process of being written. A lot. Well, no, but I'm not slowing down either.
Right, but time is against us. Regardless if you want to believe that or not. As soon as you're born, you're dying.
For sure.
So, look, I think you should write stories in your 20s. Don't get me wrong. I don't think I did that enough. I didn't write enough.
I probably did a little too much.
But that's awesome. I'll tell you now.
That was a lot of learning I had to go through because they weren't all good ones.
No, but you wrote chapters. I haven't closed a lot of chapters because I don't think I wrote a lot. I'm writing more. I've wrote more chapters in the last 10 years than I have since my divorce, which is like 15 years. Last 15 years, I wrote more than I did before it. At least that's how I feel. I wrote more notes, more chapters. I really wrote for real in books more than I ever did before. Yeah. So I think I'm documenting my life a little bit differently in my head, way more now. So when I close a chapter now, I'm closing the fucking thing. That's it. Yeah. And I want, and because that's the only way we can move forward as people. So before you close that chapter, make sure it's done. So then you can be good with yourself when it closes. Because it's hard to live with an open chapter and keep wondering, what if?
Life is messy though, Rob. You're not going to be able to shut down all those chapters.
100%.
You can't. I mean, I think about it now. There's people that just faded away out of my life, and I don't even know what went on. I don't think either of us really knew why things faded. Life just works like that. So that chapter will still have a little, it'll still be ajar. The door will still be ajar. It's just a little bit open. That's where wonderful, beautiful things could come from, is that little opening. But as far as moving on, move on. Do what you need to do. You do have some chapters open, and they are hard to close, especially love chapters where people were close to you, or you have that desire to want to be with them and tell them things and touch them and hold them still.
Right.
What you still have all those open. And when you have people in those places in your heart, you don't leave room for somebody great to come into them.
Correct. I agree with that. I agree.
And you still have it in you. It's funny with you. You're like, yeah, well, sure. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Whatever. I've been hearing that since you were 16. It's just who you are. And I think to myself, well, something's going to stir him and force this growth. And I've watched you go through that like so many times, because you're not like me. You won't just go, I'm doing it. Like, let's just go. You're more like, well,
yes.
No,
I'm hesitant, but when I finally jump, it's generally both feet.
Yes.
Yeah. But you're right.
It could be anything. I remember when you didn't used to drink, and I'd be like, just get drunk with us, Rob. Like, come on.
And now look at me.
And now you drink and I don't. So it's like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I missed out.
Yeah, a little bit you did, but did you? Because as we were all puking, you were like, I slept good. I'm hydrated. I got a good life going on. I got up early this morning. You know what I mean? Did you miss it? I don't know. You may have missed the experience, but was the experience really healthy to be in? No.
Right. And even now I drink sparingly because I think I've seen all of those things. And I go,
we don't need to learn from Tina's mistakes. I see it all over the floor. Yeah.
I had my best friend, and you know who my best friend is.
Yeah.
He had he loved to drink. Still does, actually. And he's married now. But when we were young lads in high school lads, this guy would always get hammered and hit on girls who already had boyfriends. And I mean, wasn't a one-time thing. And many a time, sober Rob would come up and go, man, he's just drunk, dude. He didn't mean any of that shit, blah, blah, blah. And I remember walking away telling him, like, I am going to kill you. Like, stop putting me in this position. And now, many, many moons later, since we've known each other for 40 something years, we giggle about it. And, he finally found the right girl and, all these good things. But yeah, like, these are chapters that are great reads, but even those are closed. They're just closed differently.
Yeah.
I think age closes some doors of silliness. You can reminisce about them, but they are like, ooh, man, did we do some dumb shit? And like, wow, that could have got me arrested, or, like lots of things like that. So, I guess I was reading some of these things, and it's interesting how we look at life, and how life changes. Here's a quote near the end here. This is a good one too. It says, close the door gently. You don't need anger to know you deserve something different.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
I think that's exactly how my divorce was.
Yeah, 100%. Look, after sitting down with both of you on this podcast, which we're going to revisit at some point.
Yeah,
differently,
he wants to
though.
come on again.
Yeah, but we're going to do it on a subject this time that's not relationship based. We'll do something different. Because I think it's fun, to throw him in, and he comes up with some of his own really good stuff. So, but you're right. Like you guys did your best you closed the door gently, and it wasn't with anger, and you can still chat with each other, and that's important. And maybe that's another thing I'm going to try to do as I go. If I close a chapter, I want to make sure it's not with anger. Just, okay.
Yeah. No, don't do that. You could be mad, especially if you're in a relationship or have been. God, you could hate on somebody so easily. Like, I could give you 101 things that used to piss me off about my ex, and they're trivial. They're trivial. More, I think what needed to be done was I needed to just get over it and not have a problem with that. And same for him. Like, when we see each other now, it's like, I missed my friend. I'm glad you're here. Like, we didn't have that when we were married. It wasn't coming out. We were so caught up in being pissed off that we weren't loving on each other, and we weren't telling each other that we were good, decent people. We just weren't. Now we do. Now he's my ally. Now he's my friend. Now he's somebody special in my life. Do I want to be married anymore? No. But I don't want to be married for him as much as I don't want to be married for me. Because I think that we both needed, now we have such different lives. He wouldn't have that if he was still with me, and I would have a different life, and it wouldn't be even close to being the same one if I was with him. But we still have important roles in each other's lives.
Correct.
And that was because we didn't annihilate every good thing that ever happened between the two of us. And you've had some really good times in your life with people, and hold on to that and look at them like lovingly, but let it go so that you could have a new experience, a different experience, a better experience, whatever experience is coming your way. Because, you're not getting any older or any younger. And at any time our life could be cut short. But I'm hoping that at the end of my life, when I'm laying there dying, I could say to myself, yeah, I'm glad I did that. Wasn't the smartest thing I ever did, but I'm glad I did it. And sit down and I'll tell you the story because it's a good one. I don't want to have regrets. Like, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have kissed him. I wish I would have had gone to that party and changed everything. No, not me. I go and I say I did every freaking thing I wanted to do. I'm dragging ass today because I was up until 5 o'clock this morning playing poker and just had no business. It was a work night. I had to be to work today. And I did it. I've been dragging ass all day. But again, you write your own story. How much you want to fill those pages is up to you. But I'll tell you, I'm going to go down swinging. I want to fill every last one of them. And there's going to be a lot of love and a lot of loss and a lot of letting go and a lot of holding on to just the memory of it, because we're all put here to do this together and nobody's perfect. So we just need to enjoy every moment that we get with every person that we get. And if it's not the person that we want in our life right now, that song, Love the One You're With, it's kind of true. You got it. Your life has to go on. You don't wait. Don't wait.
All righty. I got one more quote and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
It says, you can appreciate what a chapter taught you without wishing to live there again.
Amen.
We'll close it on that. Hey guys, thanks for listening. We are having the best month we have ever had.
That's awesome.
As a podcast this month. Like, it's out of control. It's super awesome. Thank you very much. Also, you can listen to us on pretty much any podcasting format. We're everywhere. And it's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. That's Tina. I'm Rob. We'll see you in a week. Bye.
See ya.